Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of The Guts to Fail. We have my friend Amy Hertzog. She is in my mastermind, and she's a good friend, and I love getting to know her every week on these Zoom calls that we do, and now I get to interview her for this. She is the owner of Mainstream Business Solutions, but it's actually a parent company, we were just talking about this, of several other things. I feel like that's the same. I think that's things at least go together. So you, Mainstream Business Solutions, specifically printing and embroidery for businesses. So welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into that business?
Okay. Well, my husband and I started about 16 years ago. It was kind of a nighttime dream, I guess, of his. He was working nights. We had one child at the time, our oldest daughter, and he was working nights. I was working days. We were both in corporate America, and he was tired of it. He was tired of coming home and trying to sleep and also watch our daughter. And so it was time for a change. And change is always scary, as we all know. And I'm the one that fought the change. I fight the change all the time because I don't want to take that next step. And we're just talking about that. So change has always been my biggest fear factor. And he's the one that pushes me and drives me at that point in time. So there was a teamster campaign going on at the time. And he was.
What does that mean? What is a teamster?
Teamster is a union of workers, and so they have a governing body. And so there was a campaign in an election year coming that year, and they did shirts. And he used to come home with all these shirts all the time, and they were like, $20, $30 shirts, and he was like, I think I can do that. So one night when he had nothing better to do, he was scrolling, and he comes home and he says, I have an idea. And I was like, okay, well, what's that? And he was like, we're going to get a screen printing machine. And I go, okay, well, where are we going to put it? And he's like, I don't know. We'll figure out a spot. And we were living in this 3-bedroom, like 1,500 square foot house. And I'm looking around the house going, there's no room, and we have 2 cars. And it's hot. We live in Texas, so we can't, where are we going to put this? Long story short, we ended up putting it in our dining room and clearing everything out, ripping up the carpet and putting it in there, because screen printing, if you know it in any capacity, is absolutely a mess. There's nothing glorified about it. There's nothing pretty about it. It's just a mess. We flew to Seattle, which is my home area. I'm from Washington State, and which I was really excited about because we had never been up there together as a couple. So I got to show him around the city and state that I lived in. And so we went up there to this company, and they showed us how to use the equipment. And I'm sitting there just terrified the whole entire time. I was shaking inside. Every time we went to this class, it was 2 days. We'd sit there and I would just shake inside, like, oh my God, what are we getting ready to do? Like, this is crazy.
A class for learning how to screen print?
Yes, and how to use the equipment that we were getting ready to have delivered to us at our house.
Okay, wait. Okay, so nighttime dream, corporate America. What did he do before I'm going to buy a screen printing machine?
He was working for Roadway Express, which is a freight company, at night on the docks, unloading and loading trucks.
Okay, yeah. Literally anything would probably be better than that.
Exactly.
Got it. Unloading trucks. And all I keep writing down here is the supportive wife. Supportive role in the background. You're like, okay, and you're just going to do this. Okay,
right.
Moving forward. I'm still listening.
So not a problem. So we ended up, he created the shirts. He got the deal through the Teamster Union, and we printed all these shirts in our house. And one thing led to another. Somebody found out that we were doing this. And so it's always been a word of mouth business. In 16 years, we've never done much marketing or campaigning or social media of any kind. But as you well know, that's the way it's going. And so we've had to adapt. So we're working on that as well. And that's what I'm, so thankful for you, because you're helping in that whole situation.
I love helping. I mean, I was on the call before we got on, and that's why we were a minute late. And I was on a call right before that with Sydney, and that's all I can think about doing. It's like when I learn something, I'm like, oh, so-and-so needs to know this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's been just one of those things. And so we transitioned, we moved to a house in Frisco. And
where did you live before?
We're in the Colony.
Okay.
So we moved to Frisco, and of course the screen printing machine came with us. And again, where are we going to put this machine? And, we live in this nice, pretty house now that's big. Where are we going to put it? Well, it ended up going upstairs in our media room. Of course, being the supportive wife, I put plastic down underneath everything, because I was like, brand new house. And what are we doing? We're bringing this dirty machine inside again. So we did that. We continued to print. And again, we continued to, word of mouth, just start working our way through everything. And ran into a gentleman that was actually looking to sell a business down in Dallas. So
a business?
An existing business. So we bought his book of business and came back and moved everything out of the house and moved down to the Walnut Hill area and worked out of there. Moved a couple of places different, because the place that we were in was really too big for what we needed. So we moved to a smaller location, and then we decided that maybe this just wasn't for us. Things were going well. It wasn't that we were, that we didn't like it. I think we were just starting to get a little burned out on it. And that's where our second division of Mainstream Business Solutions comes in, and we started doing transportation. Airport transportation to and from Frisco to DFW. So we kind of put the t-shirt side on the back burner, and our 15-year-old son at that time was really, really struggling with, I don't want to go to school. It was a struggle every day to get up and go to school. We were fighting to get him to engage in school. He would much rather be doing something at the office or doing something business-minded with one of us. And I had fought it for long enough. I was done. So I turned to a really good friend of mine and I said, she had in fact pulled her son out for health reasons to homeschool him. And I said, what does it take? And she said, well, we went through everything. And I was like, okay. And I was scared out of my mind again. But after about 6 months, he came to me and he said, Mom, I want to open up the screen printing and embroidery business again. And I looked at him and I was like, yeah, right, whatever. This 15-year-old is going to come and try to run a business. Okay, whatever.
So wait a minute, y'all closed it all together.
Yes.
And didn't even do it. Y'all just went to airport transportation, which that leap in my mind, I'm like, where did that come from? Stop you, because I have a lot of questions and they're backing up, and I feel like I should ask these.
Okay.
This. First of all, when you say Teamsters, all I can think of is Jimmy Hoffa. So,
yeah, that's exactly who you're thinking of.
Yeah, I saw a documentary. Okay, so I really find this amazing parallel between you and Cappy, because Cappy said that she took a risk And she was like, what could this lady say? No, what could go wrong? You don't like it and sell the machine, whatever. She took a risk. And because of that one party, that one person that she asked, she can trace almost every single other party back to back, word of mouth in her business. And until now, she's also in the mastermind. Obviously, you know that. Everything had been built on word of mouth. The whole marketing of the business really didn't need to happen because she couldn't handle any more business at the moment, but now she's in this growing phase. So anyways, I really love how parallel you took this crazy risk. You saw this opportunity. You just took it. You pounced on it. It was completely different than whatever Cappy had done before, what you had done before, what your husband had done before. But you just came together as a couple, supported each other just like Cappy and her husband. And now you can trace everything, at least up until when you closed that order, back to that one t-shirt order from the Teamsters, from Jimmy Hunter.
Yeah.
And I just really love that. And I also like how you said you lived how you lived in a small 1,500 square foot house. You already had 2 cars. It was hot as hell, 3 bedrooms. You didn't have anywhere to put it. And you just did it anyway. Great people do things before they're ready. Amy Poehler said that. I don't even really know who she is, but she said that. And that was you. You did things before you were ready. But after you did that, y'all moved into a much bigger house with a media room.
Right.
I mean, somehow that risk paid off, and you were then able to take that entrepreneurship and that taking life by the horns and being in charge of your own destiny and income. And you moved into a much bigger, you said prettier house.
Yes.
Tell me about how Mainstream Business Solutions, or whatever it was called back then, is that what you originally named it, or is that what y'all bought?
No, that was when we first started, it was a t-shirt company.
Okay.
No, it's changed and evolved, but
did that have anything to do with y'all being able to move to a different place?
It did. Now, I was still working my corporate job. So on top of being, a wife, a mother, I was working full time and had a job that I worked for a couple in the craft industry who did not understand what it was like to be a parent. And so my hours were long, and I had to come to terms with myself that it was time to step away from corporate America and not only be a mom and a wife, but really invest myself into the business that we were growing. So I did, again, taking that, that leap of faith and just not having that secure income every 2 weeks that was coming in. I picked up some things just really to feel like it was there was some stability there.
Right.
And I did some consulting work for another craft company, just so that I kind of had that stableness.
Mm-hmm.
And then left that. And again, we kept going, and then we finally decided to close it. And then Jordan, our middle son, that's okay. Jordan, our middle son, came to me, like I said, and said, I want to open the t-shirt and embroidery company back up. And I was like, okay, well, we were homeschooling him at the time. And I said, okay, that's fine, but you have to come to us with a plan. Like it has to be written down. You have to come to us with a business plan. And then we'll kind of take it from there. And he said, okay. And I told Paul, my husband, I said, it's not going to happen. Sure enough, about a week and a half later, he came to us with a plan. He had found the machinery that he needed and wanted. It started with, on his time, ours started with a screen printing machine. His started with an embroidery machine. But he had worked out the plan. He had found the equipment. He knew how much it was going to cost. He knew how he was going to purchase it. He knew he had already started talking to people. This is my kid that has absolutely no fear. The word no does not mean a damn thing to him. And one of our previous clients had been in contact with the Dallas Mavericks. And he said, he came to us and he was like, Mom, you know that job that so-and-so asked us to bid out when we had the screen printing business? And I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to go find that job. I said, okay, more power to you, dude. You know, whatever. So he came, and I'm not crying. My allergies are bothering me today, and my eye keeps watering.
Hey, the interview is still young. We can be crying by the end of it. Who knows?
Okay. So he says, so it was basically the shirts that you get at the Maverick games on, like, I think it's T-shirt Tuesday, or was T-shirt Tuesday. And he found, or long story short, he ended up, because nobody would give him an answer of who he needed to talk to, he ended up sending Mark Cuban an email. And
a fail. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
He sent Mark Cuban an email and he said, you know, this is who I am. This is what I'm trying to find out who to talk to. And whoever responded, I don't think it was Mark, but he said, hey, this is who you need to contact. So Jordan did, reached out to their marketing person, had a name and a number, and ended up bidding on the job. And we lost it by 3 cents to an overseas supplier. Yes.
Was that failure, did it turn into a success for him in some other way?
It has. Yes, most definitely.
That.
He has secured business that Paul and I are just, we shake our heads all the time and just are in awe. Right now, currently, we have 2 locations. We just opened up the second one. In fact, the boys are gone from here and are on their way to Nashville to get everything set up there. So we have a location here in Carrollton, and then we have now one in Nashville.
Wow.
The dream scenario for everything is for us to have 3 locations, and that third location being in the Las Vegas area. So basically, we have a marketing company that we work with currently that has business across all 50 states, and they need screen printers on the West Coast, the Central, and the East Coast. So we have the Central taken care of with our location here, and then the East Coast is now taken care of with our Nashville location, and then the West Coast would then be taken care of with the Las Vegas location.
Wow. So something that was dead and gone and closed and the light was turned off, your 15-year-old was like, I want to do this. You won't even go to school. Okay. So let's get that out of the way. But okay, whatever. Tell us a plan. So he comes back with a dang plan, and now you're looking at 3 locations. Yes. 2 right now for sure. And then you've already got plans for your third.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I want to get off this call, all of y'all, and I want to go do something. I want to, oh my gosh, I got to hustle.
That's right. Well, and I will tell you, Brooklyn, just being, it's amazing how when you take and surround yourself with people that are either like-minded or a little bit to the next level of being like-minded where you want to go, it absolutely changes your perspective. And there have been days through this whole scenario of COVID and everything like that where it's just like one of those daunting things, like, how do I get up and put my clothes on and go from there?
Yeah.
And then I either get on a mastermind call, or we're talking about something, or you've given me an idea to spear something, and or I had a conversation with Cappy and Cindy the other night at bingo, which was awesome, by the way.
It's all different.
Yes. And I already have my tickets for the next one, so we're good.
Go get your tickets, Tiger.
That's right. That's right. So, but just getting ideas from other people, it's absolutely amazing, and it's not anything that that you ever dream of or think of, or but pivoting and Jordan looks at things a little bit differently than I do, which is fun to see and watch, because he has a young, youthful mind, and I look at it from kind of the stability part of it, like how are we going to keep stable?
Of change. That was the two words I wrote down first.
Yes.
He's like, remember, great people do things before they're ready. You and your husband weren't ready for this. He was slinging boxes on a dock.
Right.
Teamsters. And then he's like, we're going to Washington to buy a machine and get some training, and we're going to put it in our dang living room.
That's right.
So you doing what he saw y'all do.
Right.
He's like, you did it. I'm gonna sling some more spaghetti and let's see what sticks.
Well, exactly. And I will tell you, again, that pit of my stomach has sat there for a while, and I'm like, is this the right time to open a new shop, take on a whole nother location? And he's grabbed it by the horns, and he is no stopping him. There is one other large screen printer in the Nashville area. There's others, but another big one at the size capacity that the one that we purchased is, and he's ready to take them on. Like he's got 2 machines, but he's got business that he's been working on since we started this whole transaction that they're just waiting for him to get open and ready. So
the name of that business?
That one is going to be U.S. contract screen printing.
U.S. contract screen. My sister lives in Nashville, and they have a very successful food truck business. Uh-huh. And I have a lot of family in Nashville, and so I'm going to tell them all, hey, this is
right. That's right. So he's super excited. And the funny kind of backstory on this other company that we purchased the equipment from, they did all of their business, most all of their business, not everything, but most all of their business was for the record companies and the record labels there in Nashville. And so they did shirts for Garth Brooks and Kane Brown and Jason Aldean and all of those guys. Well, they're not touring right now.
Right.
So that is where this gentleman that had the company before kind of put his sector in, put all of his eggs in one basket, and didn't have a backup or a pivot plan. Mm-hmm. So Jordan has, like I said, already started keeping in contact with those guys so that when that does start taking off again, he's ready for them and they're ready for him. But he is
nurture and maintenance kind of thing, because he's using this time to nurture his relationship with them. So he's first top of mind when they're ready to use him.
Exactly.
How old is Jordan now?
Jordan just turned 18 in June.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. So we have 5 minutes left, and I didn't ask any of my questions. I went through this whole thing before we got on here. I said, look, I've got all these questions, and I probably won't get to one of them. So one of the things that you said, and it keeps resonating with me, this one question, because None of this is what you grew up saying, this is what I want to be when I grow up. And honestly, you didn't come up with any of these ideas either. It's the men in your life that are just like pulling you along, right? And you're like, okay, I can do that. Okay, I can do that. Okay, I'll help you with that and support that. But my question is, you said on our mastermind call this week, you said, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to be when you were a little girl? What was your dream? Like, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a physical therapist.
Okay. Because I have no more room to write. Okay, so you wanted to be in PT. What made you want to do that? Did you experience something that's like you had a good experience with a PT, or?
No, it was actually, I used to give back massages to my aunts, and they're like, you are so good at this. And I was like, well, what can I be when I grow up and do this? Like, well, you could be a physical therapist or a massage therapist. And I was like, okay. So I, right out of high school, I went to Texas Women's University, and I was, making my path to being in the physical therapy program. And at that point in time in life, I, let fear overcome me and let the voices in my head just kind of overrule. And I called my mom after, I think it was in the middle of the first semester. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And she was like, okay. And that was the end of it. And then I continued on with a business administration degree. So, but yeah, that was my short-lived schooling. And I didn't even make it to the application process to apply to get into physical therapy school. But I talked to somebody on campus that was like, oh, only 1 in 10 people get in that apply. And I was like, I was scared.
That's not gonna be me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I just can't help but think that, it takes all the kinds of people to move the world along. And I cannot, first of all, I wonder if your mom had been my mom and she'd be like, oh, hell no, you haven't tried. You've only been there for 2 months. You get your ass back there. You're going to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
And start hollering at me. I can't even, but if my mom was like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that, but God had a plan for you, and your supporting role and your encouragement and your steadfast and your fear of change to keep y'all stable has been the one thing that everyone needs an Amy in their life.
Right. I
have one in my life. His name is Matt. Your husband has one in his life. Her name is Amy, your son. And that's the yin and the yang. And your role is just as important as the person that leaped and leapt and had the idea. And if you had not gotten that business administration's degree, you would have been a massager. You wouldn't have been able to help any of them with any of the businessy stuff.
Right.
So it was all part of the plan.
Yeah.
That's
amazing. And the plan, I just, it's now I'm pivoting in my own sector of taking the screen printing and embroidery piece to another level and pivoting that way. So there's things to come on the mom side.
I am so excited about that. And you're taking the Etsy class.
Yeah.
Did you? I'm sorry. I was on a call when I was answering you, so it was really like. 13. Yes. No. Okay. And I'm not a short person, but if I'm talking to 2 different people, it's hard.
No worries at all. No, and I'm so excited because that's in the works. There's some different things going on that you've speared some ideas, and Cappy and Cindy have speared some ideas. So it's actually on my desk at the moment. So I'm really excited.
Hercules. I love that. That's from a Eddie Murphy movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that we're a little past time, but one more question. Well, no, we'll save that. It's okay. It's a long conversation. I really appreciate you, and I am just so inspired by the get up and go of all of y'all, and the go with the flow, but be smart about it, and the scaling. And I just can't wait to ask you about all the businessy stuff, because that question you asked me, in my email, and we're like, hey, let's talk about that.
Right.
My wheels are just like churning right now. I support you, you support me, we support each other. That's what this is all about.
Yes.
So I love you.
I love you too. It was great.
I will see you soon. Oh, Monday, Dolly Day, maybe.
Yes.
And I just appreciate everybody who watched today, and I will see you later. This will be on YouTube, and I will share the link with you as soon as Eka gets it up. Okay?
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. Bye. See you next Thursday, y'all.